Good morning. Yet another morning and a time for a little bit of a reflection. Reflection, that's a difficult word. Um, Most of my reflection is actually based on all these communications I might have on the various groups. And I'm also a member of I can't even remember what the group name is. It's something about alternative methods for curing. It's about using natural remedies and stuff like that. It's a very interesting group to be a member of because this is people who are having cancer or has got relatives or friends who has got cancer, and they're seeking information as to what to do and how to do it. And because it's a group for alternative options, well, people are obviously very keen on getting as many information as they can, and there is a very good tone in there as far as I can see so far. And it's very refreshing that one get to air one's opinions. That's basically what it is, because there's not too much science backing a lot of these things up. And so, one of the things that I see people still do is pushing the vegetables and the fruits and don't do the meat thing. And that's the basis of this little video here, because not only do I go against the grain, you could say, by not choosing a conventional treatment for my stage 3 prostate cancer, not yet anyway. I'm still emphasizing that it is a progress, that if it does go wrong for me, I will choose medical treatment, because I'm not having any interest in shortening my life more than necessarily. And there might be ways to solve the problem down the road. So as long as I'm not doing permanent damage to my body using medical treatments, I might see that as an option. Anyway, everybody seems to be agreeing very well on the fact that meat, in particular red meat, is not good for you. And I feel like I need to air this one here, because it's again my infamous logic that kicks in here. I've been on the carnivore diet, or a ketovore diet as I would call it, because it's 80% animal products and it's 20% something else. And in that 20%, actually, throughout the time I've been on this diet, it's been August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So we're talking, now I gotta figure here, 7 months. I've been on the carnivore diet for 7 months. And I've never felt better in my life. Obviously, it should not be true, and it probably is, and I'm just having a selective memory. I might have felt better when I was younger and 20 years old. But I can say for sure that I am now down to 192 pounds, and I came from 230 pounds. So I'm 38 pounds less. And I can say that I'm more fit, and I can say that I am exercising better. I can say I have easier control of my hypertension. I can say that my brain fog is gone. I am permanent in fat adaptive state, which basically means that I can eat sugar and cookies and I'm still not thrown out of ketosis. So my diet is 80% meat. It is pork with a lot of fat. It is butter on it, real butter, salted, and I love it. It is grass-fed or grain-fed beef. It's a better quality. It tastes good. And it's chicken. It is fish, mackerel, sardines on cans or not. It is cheese. And like I said, I haven't felt better for a very long time. I've not been this fit for 30 years. And I have done a lot of things to try to change that. But as always, when it has been successful, it's been very little and it's been very temporary. 7 months, never. And with these results, absolutely never. I mean, I've been able maybe to cut down 3 or 4 kilos, but that's it. So, back to the issue of red meat and cancer. All the examinations, I think people are failing to understand that most of these, or all of them, it has to be all of them, are based on on people eating a normal diet. And then if you are then measuring what happens if you eat red meat, and you're not talking about all the confining factors like what kind of type of person would eat red meat and so on and so forth, which is always and also a big problem, because the profile of the person eating red meat versus one that eating a vegetarian, for instance, is typically one that is less conscious about what he's eating. We just want whatever he's got the craving and can afford, while the vegetarian seems to be more conscious about what he or she is eating, good or not, doesn't really matter. It is a consciousness aspect that makes a difference. And so if you're trying to measure that up and see what is right and what is wrong, you can easily deduct something very wrong, because it's based on the wrong premises. But not just that, just to say for a second that they actually are able to take into account all these confounding factors and weed it out. And so we're left with a pure result of what does meat does to your body versus not eating meat. Then we still have to remember that for them to know that specifically, they have to look at a group of people that are carnivores and eating just that, and has been so for, say, a year or more. Because there is so many changes happening in your biome, in your stomach, for instance, in your intestines, in your guts, when you change your diet. And when you do that, and you get into a fat adaptive state, as I am permanently, then, for instance, let's just take LDL, your cholesterol levels. My body survives right now on fat, which means that I have to have fat in my bloodstream, because that's what has been transported to my cells in order for them to function and work, in order for me to have fuel during the day. But if you are on a SAD diet, standard American diet, then you are fueling yourself by carbs and by sugar. And to have fat in your bloodstream is then not very good, because it's not being used for anything. It's just there to clog up the system. And that's why if you're comparing the effect of eating red meat with not eating red meat, and you're making those assessments based on people who are eating a standard American diet, you have a biology that might rightfully so say that red meat is bad and doesn't work and is very bad for cancer. But if you're making the study the right way, and I might be on deep waters here, because maybe somebody has done it, but since being carnivore is not new, it's ancient. But being carnivore as a concept in the modern days is very new. I haven't seen a lot of that. I know that there are people jumping out of the woodwork saying that they've done that for 10, 15 years. But 10, 15 years, considering that the standard American diet has been around for like, what, 100 years? That's not much. Plus, that is single individuals, and you cannot really make more than anecdotes out of single individuals. So I think there needs to be some more extensive studies. So we're left with the one thing that is actually the most important thing. As I also wrote in one of these groups, if you want to know what is right, listen to your body, because your body will tell you the answer. And so as long as your cravings are not sugar, which it is a highly addictive substance really, so, and it's not very good for you, your body will produce whatever sugar it needs. It will convert whatever you stuff down your mouth to sugar to the extent that it needs it. Then as long as your cravings are not sugar, your body will tell you what it needs and how much it needs of it. Plain and simple. So I had one person asking, saying that, oh, I know that I should just eat vegetables and I should stay away from the meat because it's not good for cancer, but I just can't live without it, and my body's screaming for it. And I just answered, well, then eat it. I have been in doubt myself. Obviously, initially when I started out on this adventure, I had no idea what was the right thing to do or not. And I literally had started the carnivore diet 5 days, I think it was, before, no, hold on a second, it was the 14th. 6 days before I got my high PSA on 124. 6 days before that, I started the carnivore diet. And I was not in any means in any state of happiness doing the carnivore diet. It was a revolting thing to do. The whole concept of just and only eating animal products, it was something just by thinking of it, almost made me puke. And also I didn't adding the fact that I love cooking, and the whole idea that I should now scrap cooking because I can't do it with vegetables or anything else, it was not very appealing to me. But I was very determined to just give it a shot, because about 6 weeks ahead of that time, I had a big run, a big trail run, and I wanted to be as fit as I could be for that run. And so I kept on doing it. And then in the process, obviously, I started to do a lot of research, because what is prostate cancer? But the research started 2 or 3 months later. And by that time, I'd already noticed some significant changes, and positive changes, a lot of positive changes. So when I found these information saying that meat is not good for you, I was already at the state where I'm saying, well, maybe it is, or maybe it isn't. And I posted my concern in this carnivore group, where I asked if somebody had any experience doing that. And one person said some very wise word there. He said, if you have never felt as good as what you are feeling right now for 30 years, then you're clearly doing something right. And something right equals a immune system that has a better fighting chance of battling cancer than feeling wrong. And that kind of had the pieces falling into place for me. Meat is not bad. It's bad not to listen to your body, but listen to marketing campaigns. And as I mentioned, as a carnivore in a fat adaptive state, my metabolism is different. I'm using the things I eat differently, and my biome in my gut is different. And so it changes the game. And if we're looking at what our ancestors were eating, they were not eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, simply because there were no fruit and vegetables around. If we're looking at apples, for instance, apples were a very small and very sour thing. It was not a huge, juicy, very sweet thing where you could choose whatever level of sweetness or sourness you wanted it, because there are 30 different kind of species around, which has all been human modified to fit our needs, or fit the marketing, or fit the sale. So not only would vegetables or fruits be something that was just on a seasonal basis, but there would be very little of it. 99% of everything you see in the supermarkets are modified within the last 150 years to fit the needs of a growing population who needs more food. It is not something you find out there, and you do not see evolutionary changes over only 150 years. The agricultural revolution started about 40,000 years ago, but we're only talking about really massive changes back in 1850s, 1840s. So we're talking just before we crossed 1 billion people on the planet, that the farming started to become more efficient, because there were more mouths to feed. But our biome has not changed, so we're trying to feed it something that it should not eat, basically. Now, obviously, what I also think that the carnivores are missing out on when they are screaming against the vegetables, which I think they are right doing. I mean, if you got to choose between vegetarian or a carnivore, there's no doubt in my mind that carnivore is the right thing. That being said, I believe that the hunters back in the days, they would have been opportunistic. They would obviously not have gone past an apple, whatever sour it was, and say, oh, we don't want it because it is not human food. If it was something you shovel in your face and you could eat it and it could give you something, you would do it. As an opportunist or hunter, you would take whatever you could find on your way. But the work to profit ratio, so to speak, effort to yield ratio, would be much better if you go out and hunt for a buffalo or something similar, because you go in a group and you do a day's hunt and you got meat maybe for a month for the whole tribe. Plus meat, you can cure it, you can store it, you can dry it, so it will last longer. Plus meat is around all year long. You can do fishing, you can do whatever. So logic dictates that out of an evolutionary perspective, we are carnivores, we are hunters, we are also opportunists. But the opportunist is a game based on what was available, and there was not all that much available. Here in Thailand, for instance, if we go out in the forest, we can't find much. Yeah, we can find mushrooms, and I believe that mushrooms were around for thousands of years as well. We can find bamboo shoot, but bamboo shoot is also a good example because it's not full, but there's trace amount of cyanide, so you got really to boil it for a long time to make it edible. And mushrooms, obviously, you got to know what you're doing because some are edible and some are not. So at that point, I'm also going against the grain. I'm saying, and I'm going against the grain on that point because, and this is very important, a lot of people, they keep focusing on what not to eat in order not to feed the cancer. I'd say what to eat in order to feed your immune system, because this immune system battling it. And it's very simple. It ended up being the same thing. But like, for instance, if there's a certain thing that you like protein, they'll say, okay, you have a cancer that thrives on protein. But if your body thrives on protein, give the body protein and let the body battle the cancer. Don't starve your body of things it needs in order to battle cancer yourself, because you are way out of your league. If you want to battle cancer, you have no idea what components and what amount of components and to what frequency you should add those components in order to optimize the effect of it. There's zero chance that you can do that. But your body is a fine-tuned machine. It will know. So by choosing to focus on your health and your immune system and your resistance to bacteria and all that sort, by focusing on all the things that can improve that, you are giving the body all the tools in the box to combat the cancer, which it will know how to do much better than you have any chance of doing. So I think people are failing a lot because they're too focused on what makes the cancer work. And sure, don't feed it sugar. But that's not really relevant, because if you're feeding your body the things that the body needs and only what that needs in order to stay strong, you don't feed it sugar anyway. So that is a focus on your immune system that makes you say, don't give it sugar, because you want to stay healthy. Not because of the cancer, but the side effect of that is, well, the cancer doesn't have any food. And so obviously there will be these overlaps where there are things that the cancer likes just as much as the body likes. Well, don't care. Like with everything else, don't overdo it. Don't eat in excess of things that you don't need. But that again goes back to the same thing. Do what you could do to improve your immune system. And drowning your immune system, your body, in some substance of sort that are positive for your immune system is not positive. There's nothing good about too much. Too much is by definition too much. So it's very simple. Focus on your health and your immune system, and your body will take care of the rest. We're talking meditation, we're talking exercise, we're talking making sure you stay hydrated and you've got electrolytes in your body, and we are talking about eating the right food in the right amounts. And we're also talking about intermittent fasting, and we're talking about fasting as well. Because if we're looking ancient people again, well, they didn't eat 3 meals a day. 100% sure. I mean, they did not have that, oh, it's 6 o'clock in the morning now, we got to do it before we go to work. Or it's 12 o'clock, ding, it's a 1 hour meal time, we got to do it now because it is dinner time or lunchtime, and then we have to get around and to get some dinner. They did the dinner thing. I think that's what they did. They did a whole long day's work and maybe grabbed whatever they could get on the way, hunting or what they do not. And when they were lucky and they brought something home for food, then they sat around the bonfire and they cooked up things and they prepared the food and they had a joyful day. But they were not eating 3 times a day. They were not even eating 2 times a day. They might have been snacking a bit and then had 1 meal. And it was a solid animal meal. That's what they had. So that's what we got to get back to. Simple as that. Everything else is politics. Everything else is religion. Everything else is just marketing and money, in my perspective. And I'm making this video and I'm stating it right now because I'd like to see how wrong I can be on this logic later down the road. But I also like to know that I'm right, if I am right. So anyway, yeah, I think that's the key. That's the key information here. Until next time, stay healthy.